Right then, a bit of a different one on the barbershop tonight. We've gone mobile. We shut down. Coronavirus has shut us down, but we're still going. Tonight we've got $1 million smile, Anthony Crolla. Always makes me feel sick. And a special guest tonight.
Oh, special
guest, Ade from Boxing Talk with Ade. You're pointing wrong way, Ant. Point other way.
On my square it's.
Yeah,
so is that right?
Yeah, that's it.
Look at you. You're running in circles. Which way will you turn?
So yeah, we're here to talk about what's happening in boxing this week. Not much, unfortunately. What do you think? Everything's cancelled now. There's kind of nothing happening. I've seen a press release Eddie's saying he's rescheduled everything for July. What do you think, Ant? Is that just to make newspapers, or do you think it's realistic?
I don't know if it is realistic, being honest, because you've got to remember it's early July the 4th it is, because I know Callum Johnson, I was speaking to him earlier, who's on the undercard of the Dillian White Povetkin card. It's you've got to remember with those, and I know people, you might not need much material to sell it, because people are just going to be dying to watch some live sport, aren't they? But normally with, you know yourself, with a pay-per-view show, it'll have weeks and weeks of footage, filming you in the gym and stuff like that. And what's that?
All support programming.
Of course, exactly. It's got to be edited. And it's not just that, Rich. Another thing is, so July the 4th, yeah?
Yeah.
So those fighters are going to want to camp, aren't they? And I know, like, they can be doing bits at home and stuff like that. But they're going to have to be with the trainer who's in a different household. It's with sparring partners and stuff like that. So realistically, this old, COVID-19, it's got to be over. If that's the case, it's got to be over by the end of May, hasn't it? So you've got earliest. Actually, no, I don't think it is. I don't think it is, because that's earliest. Even if it was over by the end of May, where you can start going about your jobs. What's that? Is it 5 weeks working alongside your trainer and sparring partners for those huge fights? It's a big ask, isn't it?
I kind of think he said it just to say it and to keep boxing in news. Ade, you've got your finger on pulse. What do you think? You're the man in the know.
I find it interesting that he's moved, obviously, Dillian White Povetkin. He spoke about cancelling Chisora Usyk, which we know has been postponed, but he said nothing about Joshua Pulev.
Yes.
I'm waiting for that one to be announced that it's been postponed. It's almost like he's keeping that one just in case for some reason. That ain't going to go ahead. There's no way Joshua Pulev's going to happen either.
It's not happening.
He's not mentioning that one yet.
I spoke to Al Heyman the other day. We were just talking about boxing and stuff that were happening and asking if we were all right and vice versa and stuff like that. And he said, because he cancelled everything pretty quickly, didn't he? He did a blanket cancellation or postponement. And he said he went, talking about new dates is just talking nonsense. He went, because nobody can have any clue when anybody is going to run a show.
You can't put anything in place.
You can't do anything. And I think, I honestly, look, I said before, and I said the other week, I didn't believe it'd be till, I said
September.
Might squeeze through, maybe, but I doubt it. But I think it'll be September. Now, as things have progressed in this last 7, 8, 9 days, maybe we're even being confident at September, but there's not going to be anything before summer, never in a million years.
No way. Like Ade's just said, then there's not a chance Joshua Pulev goes ahead. Not a chance. It's
You still think all start fights will stand up, Anne?
Do I think that those fights? Well, this is another thing I was saying earlier. Some of those fighters who we've mentioned, they're at the last part of their career, aren't they? So they can't. The longer it goes on, the more the clock's ticking, isn't it? It's but I mean, every fighter, of course, will still say, "Oh no, I'm going to be good for it," but you don't know with injuries, stuff like that. You don't know. But I suppose you know that about any fight, don't you? Or you have your worries about any fight. Saying that, but I just I think they will go ahead, but I don't think they'll go ahead on the dates that's been said.
Do you
think all of them will stand on? Do you think everybody will wait on all of? There'll not be any movement at cards. Everything will stay the same.
I think there's going to be some chopping and changing for sure, but I think the main events stay the same. Yeah.
What about you, Ade?
I don't know. I mean, I look at someone like Usyk, and we've been waiting for Usyk to have a meaningful heavyweight fight for a while now, and it's been injuries, been pullouts. You just kind of wonder with him if the body's breaking down. Like Crolla said, he's getting to the tail end as well. I think we've not seen him as a pro for so long, we forget that Usyk's had a big amateur career. Yeah. He's trying to move up in weight. He's carrying injuries right now. I think the longer he has to wait out, a bigger problem it comes from. He needs to fight now to make big money. And I just wonder what's going to happen with Usyk. I just don't feel that his body is holding up. And I feel like he's trying to cash out as much as possible now just because the injuries are starting to kind of pick up with him. And we didn't see those injuries before, almost like Loma as well. The injuries started to pick up on Loma as well. He had a massive amateur career.
If you're having 300 odd fights, that's it. That's it, Ade. I think, if you're having 300 odd amateur fights, and you've got to remember, 3/4 of them are probably against the best amateurs in the world, aren't they? And in that World Super Series, like 5-3, I say that. Do you know those who find that? Usyk fought Joe Joyce in a good few years back then. Do you know what I mean? They're hard fights. They're hard fights.
I think 300 pro fights, and you know better than anyone, how many rounds of sparring does all that entail?
Yeah, it can't go on forever.
Think about it, would you?
No, it can't go on forever, like you say. So injuries, wear and tear on the body, as Ade says, it does take its toll.
But you only need one chance to fall out, don't you? And somebody get offered more money to jump into the other one and an opportunity. And then it'll be like dominoes, won't it? Everybody jumping to find where big money is.
Of course. I mean, but you mentioned that you think if Fury and Wilder are tied up, Joshua and Pulev, then the one thing you do think is for White, Povetkin, Chisora and Usyk, there is other fights out there. There's other top 10 heavyweights, but they're probably realistically the easiest fights to make for them. And I'm not going to say the only fights, but where a lot less politics are involved.
Yeah.
Do you get me there? Obviously, the same promotional banner and stuff like that.
I
think they'll stand up.
I thought that were pretty telling as well, and it kind of like makes Eddie's, not Eddie bashing, but it kind of makes his statement look a bit dafter to me. Is that it's been reported that Wilder against Fury is getting moved to mid-October, which to me is a more realistic date of when things might kick on again, maybe. So I think, look, that's a big generating money fight. Yeah. Everybody wants it to happen straight away. It's contracted. If that could have been moved to July, then why hadn't they said, well, we're going to hang on and we're going to put it to July? Straight away, the rumour is that's gone back right till October.
The situation, though, in America just seems a lot worse, doesn't it? I mean, it's easy for us, I guess, over here in England, but it just seems like the cases and the amount of people dying in America just seems to be a lot worse than it is in England. Plus, there might be an argument as well to have some of these fights behind closed doors, which I don't think would be great for fans, but it's an argument to have some of these fights behind closed doors. Would you take that if they offered you that?
I don't think they can do it, Ade, behind closed door, because, look, if Anthony's boxing Fred Smith from United States of America, and they're going to live in an hotel in a bubble, and then they're going to box, well, I want 3 neutral judges, and then they've got to come and live in a bubble for 8 weeks.
Yes.
Referees got to come and live in a bubble for 8 weeks. And all officials and paramedics have got to live on. It's just not.
And that's it. I think
it's just not feasible. I don't think.
Did you see the MMA the other week? I think that was sort of the last show. It was on a Friday night and it was like non-TV. Or even if you've seen the WWE, I've mentioned it a few times. There's no crowd, and I just think, imagine Joshua Pulev fighting.
Yeah.
Joshua Pulev fighting at Tottenham's new ground. Like, what are they letting? Are they letting fireworks off in front of an empty stadium? It's just mad, isn't it? And I don't think it can work. No, I don't think it can work. It's boxers, like, they rely on that atmosphere. That's what makes it, especially shows like that. It becomes an event, doesn't it? It becomes an event, and an Anthony Joshua fight becomes an event, not just another Saturday fight night or all like that. So don't get me wrong, you think the pay-per-view figures would go through the roof.
Yeah,
but I can't see it. I cannot see how it would work.
I think as well, do you know, there's an old saying in boxing, isn't there, that matchmakers and managers used to say, if money's right, they'll have it on your back garden if you want.
Yeah.
Well, you're taking it behind closed doors. That's what you're kind of doing, isn't it? You're in an empty space for two kids to have a scrap. But at the level these fights are, it's just not realistic when you think about referees, doctors, paramedics, board officials, everybody who you need there. Yeah. What are you going to do? Stick them all in an hotel for 12 weeks beforehand away from the family? It's
just mad. There's no way it happens.
Sounds
just like an open.
But how does it physically happen?
Yeah, I don't know. I was going back sort of to is the UFC not doing an event? But then I've just seen. I mean, I might be wrong here, but I'll have to check. Khabib, who was in the main event, looks like he's going to get stuck in Russia, so he won't be able to fly over.
Yeah.
So again, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. It's that simple, isn't it?
I think people are saying stuff, just to keep try and keep everything relevant and keep everybody talking about it.
Start with a bit of hope, a glimmer of hope.
What Crolla said was right, though. Dana White is literally 100% guaranteed that we are going to see Khabib Nurmagomedov versus Tony Ferguson. And he said he's going to get out private jets to Russia to get Khabib. And they are doing that fight 100% in, I think, 3 weeks' time or something.
Yes.
Yeah. And no matter what he said, that fight's on.
Where are they going to do it, Ade? Where are they saying they're going to do it?
He said he will do it on Mars if he has to. But he said that fight takes place, he said. He said it absolutely takes place behind closed doors. He said he's not rescheduling it again. It happens in 3 weeks.
You think he must be taking a big gamble on the pay-per-view figures then, because that's one of the biggest fights the UFC's seen, isn't it? I'm not speaking out of line there. So to do that behind closed doors, it does seem crazy. Yeah. But if he's going to do it, I don't know. We'll see. And if they set out and it works for them, then it might encourage boxers, promoters to think, you know what, we'll give it a go.
He's got that massive performance institute, and he's talking about doing it in that performance institute
in Vegas, in Las Vegas.
Mm.
Yes, they've got that there, aren't they?
Last week though, and in it when we're on about Tour de France, because they've said no matter what happens, we're running Tour de France. Yeah. Everybody can say what they want until some government official says, no, you're not.
Yeah.
And then everything, whatever you're saying and planning or thinking of doing, you've got the country on Prime Minister going, yeah, you're not doing that. And you know what I mean? No matter how big you are or what you think it generates, we're there. So yeah, trying times, but we'll just hang in there, see when all we can do is monitor it and see what's cooking, can't we? So another news this week. What do you think to this one, fellas? You must have seen it. Video went round and it's made all newspapers. Billy Joe, who we had on last week, and I've known Billy since he was a kid. I've got a lot of time for Billy. Did a video of advice at what to do with your wife if she comes at you while you're all sucking house together, right hand, left hook. So he did that video. That's kind of went viral, got in all newspapers, and then a notice apparently has gone out today from board saying he's now under suspension. What do you think? You start. Where do you start?
Oh, he's just like
when he's got his finger to press send. You think he should have thought.
I tweeted some stuff before, and I thought, you know what? I'm not going to tweet that just in case. I don't understand how he's watched that and thought, you know what? This might not go down well. I don't get that point.
Where do we start?
Do you know what? It's just. You know what it is with Billy? We like you say, you know, he's not a bad lad. I mean, it is stupid. It is stupid what he's done, but you would have got away with that like a few years ago. You would have got away with that. It is obviously a joke. It's obviously a joke. But you can't do that no more. But if he would have done that a few years ago, it might have just got laughed off. Whereas now, the way the world is, you cannot do that. You can't do it. And
I always say you won't be a stand-up comedian today because what do you talk about?
Yeah, true. And I think, listen, there's not for 1 minute is Billy Joel promoting domestic violence. That's just, it's crazy. But that's the way the world is now. So people spin it like that. And like you said, he probably shouldn't have pressed send. But I mean, I think Joe, when people do that video, I think, which one of the mates then sends it out to other people who sends it out to other people? Do you know, like, if obviously he sent that to someone close to him, hasn't he? You know, or you'd imagine. I don't think
he's probably just in the group chat and he sent it out.
That's what it is.
Someone out the group chats passed it on to someone else, who's passed it on to someone else, and
but nobody gets me. Nobody texts him back and gone, hang on a minute. Delete that. Nobody send this anyway. Delete it now for everybody. Yeah. It's just not even happened. So what do you think to the board saying they're suspending him now? What do you think? Is that just to tax in and take a load of money off him, or?
Do you know what I think, Rich? I know he got fined last time, but here's the thing: if the Canelo fight goes ahead, does Billy Joe Saunders need a British boxing license, or can he get it somewhere else?
Yeah, he can. He could get a license for anywhere in the world. But here's the issue. If he's currently licensed bit board, which I'm presuming he is because he's suspended, and they keep him under suspension, he can't go and get a license anywhere else. He has to be licensed. So if his license in Britain had run out 3 months ago, he could say, well, I'm not bothered, I'm not going to reapply for it. Anyway, I'm getting a license. I'm going to go and live in Midwest America. I'm not going to live in Chicago and train and fight. Chicago. But if he's got a current board license with a suspension over it,
he can't apply for somewhere else.
He can get registered somewhere else.
I think, like I said, whether it's going to be while this coronavirus is on. Listen, do I think, and I hope not, do I think that it's going to affect his chances of fighting in September? If everything's right by then, say if the Canelo fight's still there, no, I don't think it will affect him. It'll just, I think the board have got to be seen to be that they're doing something, about it. And like we just said, he's just had a joke probably between the lads, and it's gone too far, and that's it. And I think,
what did I do when I got that? I sent you a picture of me when I was in hospital bed going, I just tried that Billy Joe thing with Liz and got battered. Because that's our humour, innit? That's boxing.
Yeah, that's it, exactly. Yeah, lads, we'll laugh about it.
So I'd say, look, Liz just put me in an hospital bed. I tried it and it went badly wrong on my behalf. But
I wonder if he realises how much he's grown in fame in the last sort of 12 months.
That could be a thing, Ade. He might have seen himself as one of the lads. He's always been a joker.
Yeah.
He's always been a joker.
I don't think he realises the length it goes in terms of how many people now know him and think of him.
Yeah, but look at how much he got fined for that thing he did with that.
The drug addict.
No, he's a paedophile. Go and punch him and all this lot. He got a back then. And I wonder now if Boxing Board are thinking, do you know what he's getting? Apparently, I've read reports. Yeah, he's getting $7 million next time.
You never know.
We'll have 150 grand off of that before he even kicks off. We'll fine him now for doing that.
Probably, but like Ant said, though, I feel like they've got to be shown to be doing something because of the way people are talking about this now. This was the front on BBC Sport. This was the main thing on BBC Sport. So I think everyone's talking about it, and I think they had to do something.
They feel under pressure to do something.
Yeah, 100%.
And it's
we in the boxing world, or even just people, might think of it as a laugh, but people outside, especially those that might have been abused in sort of domestic violence cases, probably look at it and think, nah, we're gonna drag him through the mud here a little bit.
Yeah,
I'll be careful.
Being beat up by a boyfriend or husband in past. He's not funny about that video at all. But you can kind of do that about any subject that you could have a laugh about, whatever it is, couldn't you? You can find somebody to be offended. So he's not helped himself. Has he got blown out of proportion? Yeah, of course it has, but that's sport. And probably the other thing going against him at the minute is there is nothing else in news, is there? What is there? There ain't no else in news, but so he's gone that, and it's blown up in his face. But I think it'll just be a whacking pocket rather than anything serious like losing Canelo fight. I think if that's going to happen, it'll happen. This won't stop it. He'll just have to make another contribution to Boxing Board's funds.
They've got to be careful with him, though, in the sense that people love Billy Joe because he is a character, almost like Tyson Fury. They're characters. You can't remove that from him. I remember years ago watching Gascoigne and Ian Wright. You can't remove that part of them.
Yeah.
It's part of what he is, and I feel like they've got to be careful where they're trying to rein it in just a little bit, but not to the point where you lose what Billy Joe Saunders is.
Yeah. He is a joker, and he's always been like that. I think, in the amateurs and stuff like that, mischievous, as you'd even say. Do you know what I mean? But he's from being a young kid, and it's not like say it's harmless. But I think he's just got to be careful now, hasn't he? That's his second or third time, is it?
Fourth.
So
I think we're up to fourth now.
He
did that med thing at Meadowhall, didn't he, with that lad who a cross-dresser who worked in one of the shops. He outed him. get him a load of stick. Then there was that thing in car where they stopped that woman drug addict and offered her drugs if she'd punched that bloke. Then there was that thing last week about flights. Then there's this is how you chin your missus. It's like
didn't he throw chicken at Deontay Wilder as well at Nando's?
Yeah.
But
it's probably more than 5. It's probably more than 5.
So I don't count that. It was no, it weren't dangerous. That it was cooked. It were all right. That one. So tonight's special guest then, Mr. What do I call you now? Mr. War Machine, Mr. Hollywood.
Larry will do.
What do we call you, Larry?
That's Larry. Just Larry will do, mate.
No, now you're hitting big time. Don't go changing on me. How's it going?
Not at all. Yeah, sure. That better?
There he is.
Cool.
So how's it going, pal? You keeping well?
Yeah, not too bad under the circumstances, you know what I mean? It's a bit crazy. I had to get I was in LA not long ago and I had to get an early flight back to get back before I got stuck there. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So
where was you in LA, Larry?
Yeah, I was in North Hollywood. I was because I normally go there now between January and April for pilot season.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know, obviously North Hollywood. Which it's West Hollywood, isn't it? I was gonna say, was Wildcard North or West Hollywood?
Wildcard is just it's main Hollywood. Yeah. So it's in the middle. It's in the middle.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Quick question, Larry. Yeah. Do you feel more nervous doing an audition or entering the ring?
Yeah.
That's a good question, actually. I'll probably say getting in a ring.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll probably say getting in a ring. Yeah.
In an audition, can only hurt your feelings, can't they? In a boxing ring, they can hurt more. They can hurt more.
That's true. But also, like, it's great carry on. Like, because I before I got really into the acting, I spoke to Gary Stretch out in LA, and he was telling me that, you know, being a boxer has great carryover into the acting game, and precisely because of that, do you know what I mean? So it's made the acting, the transition into acting a lot easier, to be honest with you. Yeah.
That's what Michael Benton said to me and you last weekend, isn't it?
Yes.
Boxers have to lie to themselves constantly. So tending to be somebody else for a part, it's easy really compared to what you go through.
Yeah.
So what have you been up to in LA? What are have we got any bits of success coming your way? Is anything good happening?
Well, the whole thing with pilot season is just auditioning for loads of TV shows that they're going to start making. So I managed to get quite a lot of good auditions. One of them being the role of The Rock's dad in a comedy that he's planning on doing. Wow. So yeah, you never know. But if I land that, then I'm laughing. But it's been
Hollywood with you.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I said, if you land that, I'm gonna fly to Hollywood with you.
Yeah. Makes it, Larry, so you'll be the Wayne Johnson in the comedy.
Yeah. Because he wants to do a comedy about his life growing up in Hawaii when he was when he was little and his dad was wrestling and all of that. So it's gonna be.
His dad was a wrestler, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
His dad was a wrestler.
Yeah.
Didn't he pass last year or earlier this year? He passed
this year, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hope you get it crossed.
Yeah, I mean everything's on hold now, obviously, with everything that's going on with the virus and stuff. But you never know, man. When everything gets back to normal, I might get that call. So
do you find it easier to get roles in Hollywood as opposed to in the UK? Everyone talks about sort of how difficult it is for black actors to get roles in the UK. Is it easier in America?
I wouldn't say it's easier. There's just more opportunities in America. Right. But with more opportunities, obviously, there's more competition.
I was going to say, in LA, like everyone who's out there, they've all got a job out there as well, haven't they? Whether they work in the coffee shop, in a restaurant, they're trying to fund their dream till they land that big role. It's that's very much the case over there, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've got a 3-year O1 visa, but that only allows me to do acting work. So I can't do any other work out there apart from acting work.
Wow.
So that's why I can only, it's one of the reasons why I can only go out there for like 4 months of the year, because obviously I can't do any other work apart from that there. But obviously my missus won't be too happy if I go out there longer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Did you find yourself being typecast a bit? Obviously, big guy. Do you get in them kind of roles? The big.
Yeah, you do. I do get that, but do you know what? Typecasting is not that bad, to be honest. I mean, as long as it gets you work, typecasting is. Do you know what I mean? And I've done loads of things in the past where it's on my reel now that you can see that I can do different things. So I'm not just the heavy, or I'll do it. Don't get me wrong, but I can do other stuff as well. So and I'm proven in that regard. So yeah.
Nice one. Harry, let's go back a bit. Talk to us about your boxing career. What you look back at, what you think to your boxing career now when you look back on it.
Unfulfilled potential, really. Yeah, that's the bottom line. Unfulfilled potential. I never came close to what I could have achieved in boxing for various reasons. A lot of it being my own fault. But yeah, that's when I think of my boxing career, that's really what I think about.
And does that burn you a little bit now that you can't? Because look, we always say in boxing, don't we? You can't go backwards. You can only go on. It's that time's gone. Does it hurt that you?
Yeah. No.
Or have you come to
terms? It doesn't. Because, I mean, for me, I have to admit.
I've lost him.
Larry?
It's just signal, we might come back and go.
Larry, your signal's gone a bit rubbish.
So,
tell your missus to turn Netflix off.
Yeah, well, my signal.
Yeah, your signal
You
went.
got it?
You're back now.
Back.
Yeah, so I'll go back. I'm just saying, how do you feel now? Do you have any regrets how it ended up, or have you come to terms with it all?
No, I've pretty much come to terms with it. I mean, like I said, I enjoy acting a lot more than I ever did boxing. So for me, it is what it is. I'm a big believer in whatever's meant to be is meant to be. So it just wasn't meant to be with the boxing, but obviously with the acting, there's a lot more. It's a lot more me. So yeah, I've come to terms with it. It's
content
no big deal. Yeah, definitely.
How did you deal mentally with, obviously coming up, you're knocking everyone out. You was a guy that had a good record. I remember there was actually a show, and it was you, I think David Price, Fury. They was looking at guys that could go on to do stuff.
Yeah.
How did you deal mentally with being that guy to the guy that's going in there and everyone's expecting you to lose? You've gone from a guy that everyone's expecting to win and knock out people to a guy that everyone's going in there just as the opponent rather than the guy that people are expecting to win.
Well, for me, it wasn't really. So when I decided to become an opponent, for me, it was a means to an end. So I decided when after Prize Fighter, so that was my comeback. Prize Fighter was my comeback, and then I didn't go my way, and then I just decided, look, I'm just doing this for the money to fund my acting career, because I was going to drama school at the start. I just chose that path and didn't really look back, to be honest. So for me, it wasn't that my skills regressed or anything like that. We all know the game. You know what it's expected of you when you're an opponent. So I'm going to be honest. Most of those guys that I went in as against as the opponent, I could have beaten. So but at the end of the day, if I'd have done that, then the phone would stop ringing. And like I said at the time, it was just a means to an end. So, sorry?
It was just business for you towards the end, Larry.
Yeah, pretty much.
As Ade said then, I remember it was like, it seemed every other week there was a point where you was on his Frank Maloney's show and you was knocking someone over.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, did you, what was your goals at that point? Did you think, was it British? Was it further? Was it European? Was it world? What was your sort of goals at that point? Because there was a lot of hype around you, wasn't there? At a certain point.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to go the traditional route. So I wanted to get the southern area, the English, the British, and then see what could happen from there, basically. So obviously, I started off well with the southern area.
Yeah.
Won that, but obviously didn't go much further than that. But that's the way. That's those are the breaks, as they say.
Was that your proudest moment, Larry? The southern area?
Yeah, I would say so. Definitely. I mean, a lot of guys, a lot of well-known guys have held that belt. Do you know what I mean? So
yes.
Yeah, it's definitely a source of pride for me. Yeah.
Yeah, your name's on there with some other great names, pal, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. So can't say further than that.
When I was just, when you're in Los Angeles, I know you look after yourself, you'll stay fit. Do you do any boxing anymore, or?
Oh yeah, I'm in it because I'm really good friends with Freddie, Freddie Roach.
Okay.
So I don't know if any of you saw my social media, but I was recently at his birthday party over there.
Right, okay.
Yeah, so I'm always there. I mean, I'm even when I was there just before I flew down, I was in the gym maybe 3 times a week because I like to keep myself in shape.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm still friendly with a lot of the guys in the gym.
Yeah.
Still hang out with them, So yeah, still over there, man. Still over there.
You try to get some sparring?
They tried to rope me into some sparring. And I wasn't that keen, to be honest with you. I wasn't that keen, and I got to protect my face now. So
that's true.
So I wasn't really on board with that, to be honest.
Hi, welcome to the Black Eyed Barber Show. Make sure you subscribe and like on the page.
Look at you. You're running in circles. Which way will you turn?